one thing about violence, it doesn't just affect the victim or the killer.
Sure.
It affects whole circumstances and family.
It's a whole circle.
Yeah, it's a whole circle of things that you might not realize.
If you had a map in front of you, would you be able to choose which neighborhoods are probably the worst? I would call them almost like a red zone, like zones that need the most interaction between career force development and people who are just disconnected.
Yeah, Syracuse South Side. If you go south of downtown, you leave out of downtown, maybe you can take a ride. When you go down the South Side, you see how downtown is redeveloped.
Right.
Go to South Side, it's going to be a whole different scenery.
It's like Park Avenue in Manhattan, where there's the ritzy Park Avenue, and then you go to the other side.
Yeah, you see a whole different thing. Even Data says, I used to be a violence interrupter for a SNUG program, and our program was based on data that was generated on high crime areas where more likely shots is going to be fired.
Right.
Is where the high risk youth at, and those are the kids you got to go in the community and try to get them to put the guns down and try to redirect them in the direction that they're going when they're dealing with violence. So Southside is definitely the lost hope of Syracuse.
I mean, you were speaking about John Cacco before. I mean, he's a Republican. Do you think is he tied into trying to address that problem with the South Side of Syracuse? Do you think? Or?
No, he like I said, he was a federal DA for X amount of years.
Yeah.
He addressed the South Side by introducing RICO to the Syracuse South Side and started rounding up groups of 20 and 30 young, mostly young, some old black males, and throwing them into prison.
Right.
So he come from that perspective, a logic of there's crime, there's prisons.
Right.
You put the criminals inside the prisons.
Right.
He has an approach that, to my knowledge, with prevention measures of let's go into middle schools, let's create these programs in these high crime areas and poverty areas. Let's create middle school programs and start to groom these kids, not for prison but for college and different training programs that's available in the area.
Sure.
I don't think he's.
But you don't think he's involved enough with that?
No, not to my knowledge. I haven't heard of any legislation or anything that he has brought trying to pitch to the community to get support of that was focused on preventing.
More the Band-Aid and treating it after it's already happened.
Yeah, that's what mostly the police direction is. It's like, we'll wait till you get cut, then come put the Band-Aid on it.
Right.
Like, let's prevent the cut from happening. And we should look at crime as a health issue.
It's true.
Criminal justice is not fixing our problems. If you check the national crime rate, it's been worse than it has ever been in the past 20 years.
So in health, we hit it both ways. When somebody already has an illness, we treat the illness, but we also try to do preventative stuff, and you have to be doing those at the same time. You can't just focus on treating the disease and without treating the prevention part of it.
Yeah, we don't want to just tell you, oh, you got cancer, this is what you do now. No, you're healthy now. These are the steps you continue to do. This is what you eat. This is how you exercise, and so forth. And when I say from a health perspective, it's like you deal with a lot of people with trauma and mental illnesses.
Right.
Even though I can run for office and I got a college degree, I still suffer. I still got trauma.
Right.
I still be put in situations where, things that I expired because I've been shot, I've been stabbed, and not. I'm not bragging. I did my time, but I've been shot and stabbed.
If I would have been shot, I wouldn't have been here because the gun was pressed up against my forehead during the armed robbery. So it was either live or die. It was like one of those kind of things.
And the reason
Luckily,
why I'm here
I lived.
is it was only the grace of God. And I got shot 2 years ago. This is not old.
Wow.
This was from an incident that happened 12 years ago. Remember, and where I got shot, I still got 2 bullets in me now. I got shot in the back of my neck. I don't know how it didn't break my spine. I shot through my back, broke my collarbone. I still have a bullet right here on my collarbone, and the first bullet in my chest. And I didn't realize until I got recent X-rays that the bullet traveled all the way around here and was forged by my lungs. And I was able, I was able to leave out the hospital 3 days and 3 nights. I sat in the hospital. I was able to come home, and that's when I cried on my couch and said, God, why did you keep me here? And that's when after that I announced I was running for office.
That's divine providence that you're here.
Amen. All glory be to God, man. You know, it's going to take a collective effort because, like I said, the city itself is broke. If the city can just go in and say, okay, we can invest, 50 million of our own dollars into this area, right, I'm pretty sure Ben Walsh will pull that trigger and do so. But we don't have the funds, and it's going to take a lot of time to bring.
It's funny because you bring that up because I just saw an announcement. I think it was like $30 million was given to, I want to say, Owego for like revitalization of their downtown area, and it's like, okay, I guess I can understand that, but if you took that same $30 million and you put it into the south side of Syracuse for giving people small business loans, start businesses, do all kinds of stuff. I mean, you can imagine how that would change.
I mean, I get that downtown Armory Square needs the bulk of that resources, of course.
Yeah.
But to your point, I mean, just even like you were saying, like recruiting, some businesses over there. I loved your solution of small business loans because I mean, there's students in that area too. I mean, you could expand Syracuse instead of it just being this one
But you mentioned Armory Square. It's like, okay, Armory Square is already nice. Why not pick an area that hasn't had economic development?
And another thing that I disagree with is you have individuals that come from other countries and come into the community and they set up these stores that sucks the little bit of money that is there, and they get the money and they send it back. They don't put it back into the community. It's like if we came together, the 5 of us, and we came together and we wanted to build something, and we need financially strength. It's one thing, we get our money, we put it back into the pot, and then we can reinvest in ourselves in the community around us. Right. But if we're making money and you're sending it to your people, it's like...
Exactly. It gets diffused.
It's the power of the dollar, and that's where the South Side is lacking with resources, money, education. But what's happening now with I-81 is going to come down. That's the next big thing in Syracuse, New York, is the stretch of I-81 that comes from downtown that separates the university and downtown. Yeah, that's going to come down, and developers are already bidding on the properties there because that's going to be our new Armory Square. No, it's going to impact the South Side, whether positively or negatively. It's not known, because when they built 81, they thought it was going to have a positive effect. But if you rewind, we got hindsight now, 50 years, that putting that patch in destroyed the South Side. It moved the 17, I believe it was the 17th ward or 15th ward, was one of the most productive minority communities that Syracuse had 50 years ago. Right. So by them building that, dismantled all that, and that gave people a route to flight to suburbs. Right. So that was another thing. So now with it coming down, it's going to be another 50 years where we can look back in hindsight, like bringing 81 down was a great thing for Syracuse, or it's going to be one of those things like he's better off leaving it up.
In Ithaca, we're big on walking to every place. So, and we're talking about, it could be 6, 7, 8 square blocks of walking and stuff.
Look at Ithaca's downtown. It's like this glorified space and stuff. The banners.
It is. Right. I've never been there. I got to check Ithaca out there.
Yeah.
I'm from Ithaca as well, and I couldn't help but overhear what you guys were talking about. And this might be a little bit of a different issue, but there's a lot of programs and resources that are available and are funded through the federal government, but people don't know about them. So there's a program called the Health Home Program for people with multiple chronic conditions, and only about 20% of the eligible population is signed up for it. Yeah. And these people get lots of extra services. They get a care manager, not just to help them with making different healthcare appointments, but also helping them sign up for assistance for food or job stuff, kind of addressing those environmental life circumstances that shape one's health outcomes.
That's where the community center in the neighborhood would seem to be the focus for people to go find out about stuff like that.
But the individuals that's running these community centers don't even know. Yeah, that's the common people that's running certain programs. The lack of knowledge that they have is you would be surprised. You running programs just for the community, but you don't even know how to channel those resources that's out there to bring to the community.
Right. I mean, part of it is complex requirements, a lot of forms, paperwork, bureaucracy. I'm the founder of a technology company that essentially aggregates government programs and community services, and then personalizes it, builds that around the person instead of around government agencies. So just as like your Netflix or your Amazon is like, you watch this, you might like that. This is like, you lived in this neighborhood, there's that organization down the street that helps with X, Y, or Z.
So maybe you could develop something for the South Side.
So we have this is our platform. So it's like Susan's like personal profile, and she can look at
That's Facebook.
I know, right?
That's quite an
It's like
interface.
you have like work, education, care programs, like health, food, housing.
What's the name of that?
Open City Labs.
And do you update the profiles or do the people?
So we're getting ready to like pilot the software, but we have over 200 government New York State programs
And over 8,000 nonprofit organizations. We have information about that.
Okay.
And then on the application forms, and then what we do is we make that integratable with like an external database, so you can integrate it with a nonprofit case manager database or an electronic medical records. And we found we can auto-populate like 33 to 95% some of these forms,
Yeah.
and like automatically show people programs that they're eligible for.
So you're going to be able to integrate with the government program?
Yeah, so like the idea is to basically take those paper-based forms that government uses and then like make that available for non-governmental partners, so that somebody who's running a homeless shelter or running a food pantry can help people connect with the programs or whatever,
Right.
and like make the paperwork a lot easier.
Maybe you could start a domain and start from scratch, something called
That's my last one.
momandpopsyracuse.com, and
Yeah, no
start
problem.
where you redevelop mom and pop's business, momandpopsyracuse.com,
Oh, mom and pop.
syracuse.com,
Yeah, that's
and start with the South Side. Start one by one, putting some stores in, whether it's a convenience store or whether it's like maybe you could have a store that only sells fresh fruits and vegetables.
yeah, healthy food.
Kind of like what they do in New York City, like you have like the little stands and stuff.
We tried that on the South Side. You been to the one on South Carolina?
No.
Yeah, but it's not. It don't get enough support. Like the community, it's like we're so traumatized when something healthy come in, we reject it. Like
Carrots?
Yeah, like what? I don't want apples and oranges. Like it's like it's one right there on the South Side that the community leaders organized, came together and put one there, and the community itself don't support it.
What Open City Labs is about, and what I think we need to be doing is coming together as a community and saying, let's address the holistic issues that are surrounding health decisions and the things that shape health, in order to make sure that people have the resources. You need to be able to afford fresh produce. It's expensive. It's cheaper to buy it all.
It's cheaper to go to McDonald's.
It can't be over buying a bag of carrots.
So what you think is a health issue is an economic justice issue as well.
Goes back to economics. It all falls back to economics.
Yeah.
But there is also a human factor, I think, in terms of, I think that there does need to be some community outreach, in terms of even great organizations that are, clearly on the cutting edge. This is a Shark Tank company right there, but we're talking about, community outreach as well, because that's a big aspect, I think, of companies, especially right now. Millennials flock to companies that have a community aspect to them, and, like a Tom's Shoes or something like that.
We can start from scratch and kind of rework it. But I know the street issue, the exit issue, the highway issue. Definitely could be a factor, but we definitely got to get capital into those neighborhoods so that you can start some small businesses that are not part of huge super corporate chains and stuff.
Yeah, definitely, man. This is great conversation, man.
All right. All
Appreciate
the
it.
best.
It turned into a whole coffee shop talk.
Thanks. Nice meeting you, too.
Nice to meet you, Matt.
Yeah.
Isn't it?